Hi there, it's Michelle from C&C Designs. I'm independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm bringing you another global monthly video hop. So once a month, myself and demonstrators from around the world get together to create projects based on a theme. And the theme for February this year is celebration. So Stampin' Up! Comes out with a celebration brochure, usually the first couple months of every year. Sometimes they do it more often. You just never know. But with a celebration, it's giving back to our customers. So the idea is that if you purchase a certain amount of products during the time that celebration is on, which in this case is January 7th to 28th February, so the end of February, you get to choose one or more free products from the celebration brochure. So before I forget, in the description below, I will list the products that I'm showing you in today's video. I will also have the links to the other demonstrators that are participating from around the world, so you can click on their links and see what they create with products from the celebration brochure. And if you want to buy any of the products, the product codes will be listed, so contact your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator to purchase. If you live in New Zealand and don't already have a demonstrator, you can go to my website, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and click there to see the products, and you can order directly from there, or you can find my contact details to order from me, and find out more about products that way. So let's get started. With Celebration, it started with the new mini catalog on January 7th. And in the little brochure, there are products that you can get if you purchase a certain amount during that time. There's also some other offers if you host a demonstration and your sales from your workshop, with whether it's in person or online, reach a certain level, you get some extra free gifts. Or if you decide to join Stampin' Up! And become a demonstrator or just a hobbyist, you can get some free products as well. And all that information is in this brochure. If you are in New Zealand and want one, contact me. I can send one out, or I can send you the link to see it digitally. So we'll have a quick flip through. As I said, if you spend a certain amount, it explains it in the beginning. So for New Zealand, if you spend $125, during this time period, or $250 in one transaction, that doesn't include the shipping, you can choose products from this brochure. A lot of the products actually coordinate with ones from the mini catalog or from the main catalog. So in this case, this stamp set here, you could get that absolutely free if you spend $125. There's also the Friendly Seagulls for that spending level. There is the Day to Celebrate stamp set. You could even get an embossing folder. So if you spend twice as much, you can choose 2 of these products here. Or if 3 times as much, you can choose 3 of them. So if you spent $3.75, you could choose 3 of the products. But if you were spending that much, I suggest you join as a demonstrator, because there's extra added products that you can get. There's some designer series paper for that level, some ribbon, another stamp set, and there's another stamp set. So these stamp sets are only available free to customers. You can't purchase this anywhere else. So if you want that, say if you want that stamp set, you'll need to spend $125 New Zealand dollars here, or wherever the country you're at, check what the price is. And then you can choose that free. So you get everything else that you wanted to buy, plus you get that as an extra bonus. There's the purple adhesive back sequins. There's some more designer series paper. This is 12 by 12 inches. And then that's the set I'm going to show you today. So this one is at the higher purchase level of $250. So if you spend $250 in New Zealand dollars, you can choose this set or whatever country you're in. Again, check the price. It's probably lower than that. And this comes with a stamp set and a die set. Now there's one other one that you can get at that level. So again, at the $250 level, you can get this Corner in Bloom stamp set. and then I'll just show you the back of the brochure. So if you want to join Stampin' Up, so if you find that you're spending more than $189 here in New Zealand, again, check what country you're in, you might as well do the joining offer, because you get to choose $285 worth of any products you want for that $189 payment. Plus, you get two options. One, you could either choose this stamp set and two of the Stampin' Right markers assortments, and they come in packs of 10. There's actually 4 sets to choose from. We have Brights, Neutral, Regal, and Subtles, which match our stamp sets, our ink pads. And the great thing with this, if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of the inks, if you get 2 of these stamp sets, you can then have all these colors to work with, because there's lots of ways that you can use the Stampin' Right pens. The other option is, if you don't want the stamp set or the pens, you just get to choose another $57 New Zealand dollars free product. So 2 great offers there. And then, as I mentioned, the hosting one is if you gather a group together, whether it's online or in person, and your sales are over $575, you get to choose an additional $57.50 worth of products, but you also get to choose 10%. You'll be at the 10% level of earning. So that kind of briefly tells you about Celebration, and if you look at any of the other linked videos, you'll probably hear more. So this is a stamp set I'm going to share with you today. So those are some of the samples from the brochure. Lots of different ideas. It's got some good sentiments. Thank you. Hello. Lots of things about hearts. Would be really good for Valentine's Day. You could put Valentine's in there. And so here's the stamp set here. And as you can see, we've got thank you, my heart loves you, my thoughts of you are heart-shaped, hello, and just because. And then it's got some flowers, some leaves that you can put on there. It's photopolymer, so it's see-through, so it makes it for really good placement, easy placement. But you also get the matching die set called heart-shaped dies. And there it is. So in there, you've got one die that will cut out the 3 flowers. That stamps 3 flowers. But then you have all these other dies here. So you can get a heart-shaped image there. You can do flowers. You've got some stems there, some more leaves here. And that banner shape perfectly fits the Just Because I Care or My Heart Loves Your Heart. So they fit those sentiments perfectly with that die. But I'm going to show you something a little bit different. I decided to make some heart magnets for appreciation of my customers. So I've already gone and done some of this beforehand. So again, it's on page 12 of the Celebration brochure, where it's the heart-shaped bundle. And I will list these in the description below. So this is my sample one here. I'm going to change up the colors a bit. Sorry about the shade there. We've been having some really wet summer weather lately. So this here, I'm using the dies and the stamps, and I'm going to change up some of the colors. But this is actually a magnet. So I was at Kmart last month, and I happened to notice that they had these sets of paintable heart canvas fridge magnets. They do have smaller ones, but I wasn't sure what size I needed. The smaller packs, I think they would still be the right size, because looking at this, it ended up being much bigger than I thought. And the smaller packs come in 5 packs. This is a 4-pack. So you get the 4 magnets. They've got canvas on them, like a canvas texture. So as it says, I think they're meant to be painted on, but I decided to do something different, and I'm going to stamp on them. So you can see it's kind of a canvas texture there. Now, if you're stamping on something that's not a Stampin' Up paper or products, you've just got to be careful and hold your stamp down longer to make sure that the ink will get onto the product. So we're going to do this. Hopefully I'm able to recreate that. I did that on the one off, but because it was a lot bigger than I thought, that's how I ended up doing the flowers around the edge. And I quite like the way it turned out. So let's get started. So with that, I need my stamps. I'm going to do the sentiment. My thoughts of you are all heart-shaped. So I think I'll do that with the bigger block. Now I'll do that after I stamp the heart image because I want to make sure I can center that. So there's my heart image, which is looks like leaves. Could do it in other colors and make it look different. But it also, when I stamp it, you'll see that there's these like little buds coming off the edges, kind of. So it doesn't quite exactly match the die. And then to fill in the gaps, I'm doing the flower, which does 3 flowers in one go. And there is, I showed you, there's a die that matches that. So as you can see, there's a die that matches the flowers. So it would die cut all 3 flowers together. But I use the other dies to give it some dimension, make it kind of a 3D look. Okay, so I'm changing up my colors because I want to see how it looks with the other colors. So this one was garden green, and I believe that was real red. And this time I'm going to use garden green and, I'm not garden green, old olive and poppy parade. Now I just want to show you, because I have some samples here. So that is the flowers. If you stamp all 3 of them and die cut them, they come out like that. Okay. So where did my stamp go? There we go. So you want to make sure you get a decent amount of ink on here because this is not your normal paper. This is like a canvas cover, and so even though you can see through this, if you need to fix some errors, it's not always that easy to do. So just get it centered over the part you're going to do. I'm not sure if this ink is going to be dark enough. If it's not dark enough, I might have to change over to something else. And so because it's not Stampin' Up! Paper, I'm just going to keep pressing for a little while. Because with the canvas, it has a bit of a texture to it. So when you stamp on it, it's not smooth. And the ink might not go in all the spots that you want it to go. I'm sorry about the shaking of the camera. Okay. Hopefully. Oh, yeah, that looks pretty good. So that, I think, turned out okay, and I just stuck my thumb in the ink. So as you can see, there we've got our background, and I think it's quite lovely. It's almost like doily-like, very delicate, that image. And then I'm going to use Early Espresso. I just thought black would be a bit too harsh, so the Early Espresso to do the My Thoughts of You Are All Heart-Shaped. And I'm just going to try to center that in the middle of my image. And again, just give it press. Don't wobble it. You don't want to get smudges anywhere, but just press it. Hold it for a little while so the ink will absorb. There we go. Now the green is a bit light. If I'd had a darker green, that'd show up better, but I'm going to put a die cut over that, so it's not that critical. And the die cut's going to make things pop out, show up more. But see how small that is? And unfortunately, because it is a magnet, I can't really like die cut a heart. So if I knew the exact size at the time that I saw these, I would have got the smaller one. And the reason I grabbed these without actually checking size is because for some reason they were coming out at $1 for the pack, so that makes 25 cents each. I don't know if that was a sale price or if that was an error, but I grabbed as many as I could at that lovely price. So it was at Kmart. I don't know if it has it at Kmart everywhere. So because of the curve on these flowers, it does go nicely around the edges. Now I'm trying to think how I did. I think when I did my original, because I practiced on paper first, and that's a good idea, is actually practicing on your paper first. I'm going to do the bottom because it kind of has a bit of a point. And because there's going to be die cut images along, it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. So as you can see, because of the texture, you don't get a solid image, but I quite like that. And I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think next spot is to go around the top of the heart. So if you don't have these magnets and you want to give it a go, I suggest you just do it on paper. Oh, so see there, I didn't press, but because it's see-through and I can still see where the ink is, if I layer it up, hopefully try to layer it up best I can, and just put pressure on the part that I hadn't put the ink down. There, the ink transfers, because I could see there was still ink on the stamp. So I'm just gonna go these sides and then go from there and just try to fill it up best I can. Okay, and then if I go one, I could probably get 2 on each side. And just trying to give good pressure all around. I probably could have had more of a gap there, I'd say. So I'm going to place my flowers in these gapped areas. And seeing how I have more of a gap there and not there, I'm going to try to fix the other side. But because I'm putting die cuts on, it's not going to matter that much. That's what I tell myself. It's handmade. I don't think the people getting it are going to say, hey, wait a minute, you have a big gap there. And as I said, I did this one a while ago and I practiced on paper, so I had the paper to look at. So I would have put these ones a bit further afield. I could ink up like maybe one flower and try to do it that way. Let me see if I can show you that technique. Bit of pressure on camera. Okay, so what I'm going to do. Okay, so I was going to ink up just like one flower and try to put it there, but then you run the risk of stamping where you don't want. So I'm going to show you a technique with the pens, because the pens are one of the options you can get if you decide to join Stampin' Up. So one of the things you can do with the pens, we do have our brush tip. So you can brush right over. So using the brush tip, you can brush right over the stamp. So this is a way that you can, one, have lots of colors if you can't afford the ink pads if you're just starting out. And so if you have the Stampin' Writes, you can do this. This can only be done with the Stampin' Write pens because they're water-based. Do not try this with your Stampin' Blends because they're alcohol-based and they will stain your... So just coloring over the image that you want. And then you huff on it. So you give it a huff. That puts a bit of warm air on it. And that re-inks it in case it dried while you were stamping that. And then you can just stamp it where you want it to go. So when you're creating things, there's no errors. See, look at that. So there's no errors, there's just opportunities to do things differently. So that one's not much of a gap, but there's a bit of gap there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to color and just on the side. So if you can see, up there. Sorry, I'm trying to color and look at the camera at the same time is difficult. So there we go. All right. So I got that colored in. I huff on it, and I'm just going to try to slot it in there. Okay. And now if this was going to be seen, like if I wasn't going to cover it with embellishments, then I would probably take my brush, my pen, and just kind of go over it. See, I can just color over the bits that weren't showing up properly. And so you can use your pen to fix up, which is another good reason to have the pens, because see, it's the same color. And then you can fix up areas where maybe it didn't stamp properly, that you didn't like the way it stamped. But I'm okay with that. So I've got that gap there, but I'll fill that with a flower. So that's an extra tip I wasn't planning to show you, but I did because I had an oopsie moment. Okay, so I've already gone and die cut. So you've got the heart-shaped leaves. So I'm going to just glue those down there. And then I die cut a whole bunch of the flowers. Now, the flowers took a while because there's only one die. But what you can do, and what I did do, is I did 2 pieces of cardstock in one go when I die cut it. So I got double flowers in one go. You might be able to do 3 pieces of cardstock. I'm not sure. That might be too much for the Stampin' Cut machine. And the same with the leaves. The dies with the leaves, quite good, because you get one die that gives you 2 leaves, and they're actually different. You get 2 branches. So you get 2 leaves on one branch and 3 on the other. So you end up with sets like here. So you get far more leaves quickly when you die cut with that. And the other leaf die, it's a stem. So there's the stem one, and where is it? Oh, there it is. And it die cuts like that. And so when I first cut that out, I thought, that's interesting. What do you do with that? And I came up with an idea, which I will show you. So we've stamped on the magnet. Now we just need to glue a few things down. Hopefully my glue is going to behave. So you could have done this with the adhesive sheet behind it. So it's quicker to glue down. But I did not. Let's get fresh glue. So with something like this, you only need to dot your glue in a couple strategic points that maybe are a bit bigger than other spots. You don't need to go all the way around the line. Oops, sorry, I'm bumping. So just a few strategic points. You can see there. Just enough to hold it in place. Because it's a magnet, it'll probably be sitting on somebody's fridge or somewhere else. And you don't want to overdo the gluing. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And then you can just turn it over and stick it down. So it doesn't completely overlap the stamped image. So it's not a die that matches the stamped image. So you would not stamp the image and then try to die cut it, because it does not, it's not meant for that. But it is the same heart shape. So when I stick that down, I now have leaves popping out. But as you can see, some of the leaves that are stamped are in a different position than the die cut leaves, and it's meant to be that way. So don't try to match it up. Okay. So now that I've got that there, I'm now going to strategically place my flowers. And if I use mini dimensionals, let me get those up. I can use the mini dimensionals, which happen to fit in the center of the flowers just nicely. Let me stick one down. It fits nicely in the back, and so then you can just pop those down. So I'm going to put the dimensionals on the back of all these, on 7 of them. So my stem here has room for 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers. So I'm going to keep 4 flowers aside to use on my stem. And that should leave me with, I think I strategically planned for, oh, I got more than enough, 7. And I'm just going to pop those down around to cover up some of the white space. And then when I've done that, I will decide where to stick my leaves to then fill it up more. So when I first did this, I was actually a bit disappointed at how small it was, and I thought, oh no, you know, I've got all this white space. And then I realized, ooh, an opportunity. So let's see, I might actually need all 8, I'm not sure. So I'll just pull off, and then I'll just start by filling in where there's obvious gaps, and then see what I end up with. And the flower is not actually symmetrical. If you have a close look at it, the petals are all slightly different, which is kind of nice. So that's where I added that X one, because there was too much of a gap. And then we'll 1, 2, 3, maybe 1 there, 4. And then that was the other one that I had the gap, 5. 1 on the top for that gap, 6. Yeah, 7, it looks like about right. And then that gap there, 7. So now I've filled in those gaps. And now that I know where the gaps are, I'm going to just stick, I did 7 lots of leaves, so I'm just going to stick the leaves in where, just put a little glue on them and then pop them in where I think they go. Now, seeing that this gap here is a smaller gap, I might do 2 sets of the 2 leaves in there, so because it's a smaller gap. But in the larger gaps, I'll do the sets of 3. So then there I'll probably do 2 sets of the 3, and I'll just glue them in just so they kind of cover up the edges a bit more. So I'll do that off screen, but before I do that, I'm going to show you what to do with this piece here. So for this piece, I took my flowers and I tried to fold them in half. So you see there's 5 bits, okay? So I just turned it over and chose 2 to have sticking out the back. And when you fold it, and you fold those 2 over, you fold it at a bit of an angle so you can kind of see them sticking over the edge. Okay, so see how those are kind of sticking over that edge, and then when you turn it around, you have that look. There we go. Bit of a shadow there, sorry. And then once you fold those all that way, see how there's a bit of a, in the center, the solid, just put a bit of glue on there. So put a little glue right in that center part. Okay, see that? And then you can take one of those bits, so like that part there, and just set it right on top of the glued section. So that now becomes like the showing that the flower, not sure that my flower terms, but that's the part that's holding the flower together. And so now you've got your flower going both directions. Because originally I thought, oh, you just stick the flowers there, but that, I thought that looked a bit silly like that. And there's 4 of them. So again, just choose a couple of them, maybe even the bigger ones. And then roughly, you could use your scoring tool to put a line there, but I just roughly fold it over and then just use my fingers to manipulate it to the direction I want it to be. And so that one, the way I folded it, you don't see the back as well. So I will finish folding and gluing those and then put my leaves on here and come back and show you the finishing touches. Okay, so there I've put all the leaves, and some of them are sticking off the edge, which is fine because it's a magnet. But if you were doing this for a card, and you could still do this for a card even if it was just a rectangular card, because you get the image of the heart by going around it with the flowers that way. And so then I folded all those in half and glued them on to the stem. Whoop. And so that's just showing the back. And then I'm just going to pop a few of them, kind of stick them out above. And then I'm just going to put some glue on the back, on the green, and stick it down. So I did mine along this side because I just thought it kind of added to that edge. Because this is, that kind of is cute as well. I think I'll still stick with here. I just got to make sure I don't cover up my letters when I stick it down. I could even, just thinking I could cut it into 2 pieces and have a little bit there and then maybe a little bit. Might try that. Try something different. Hopefully it works. I'm going to now strategically cut my stem. Okay, so I cut the stem in half, and then I think I could probably, let's see what looks best. Maybe put one there. I got sticky fingers, so it's not staying, and then this one can be like coming off the edge. There. I think I'll do that one differently. Okay, so a little bit of glue on the back. I'm just putting the glue on the green part. If I want the flowers to stick down, I might do that afterwards, but just to get it in place. And I think we'll just do it coming up that way, and it kind of fills in that gap up the top too. I'm just putting the green on where the other stem is. And then if you wonder why my blocks are all grubby, it's because I do this all the time. I use it to push things in place, and then it gets a bit of glue on the block. So if you've ever noticed my videos and thought, oh, her blocks are kind of dirty and got glue spots, that's why, because I use them to press things into place. Because normally you wouldn't really put glue on your blocks. because the stamps don't have to be glued onto the blocks. But that's why my blocks get sticky like that. And so this one, I just want to strategically put it so we've got it again. Looks like it's coming off the center stem and filling up that gap. So I put it right on the edge of that stem so you can't even tell that it's not part of that. And just give it a bit of a press with the block. And if you haven't seen my other videos, the best way to clean your blocks is with hand sanitizer. Believe it or not, get your hands clean, get your blocks clean. I have done a video in the past showing that. And so these guys are just, so that's just a bit of a different, I could even maybe add a heart down there. I quite like that. And then the finishing touches, I could just leave that as is. It's quite cute. But I'm going to add a few pearls. And if you haven't tried with our Stampin' Blends pens, which are our alcohol-based pens, you can actually color your embellishments, like your pearls and things. And there's lots of videos out there showing how that's done. So I'm going to go with the medium size, I think. That looks good. And just pop a few of those in. And the big flowers, and that's just going to give us a center. So if you want it, you know, if you like the yellow center to your flowers or thought they should be yellow, then you could just color these with your Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends pen. If you are doing that, I suggest you use the dark Stampin' Blend pen because the light usually doesn't show up very well, the light shade. The other thing too is if you color it with one color and you don't like it or it's not dark enough, you can just continue coloring it with a different color. And I've done that before, so. Okay, so I'm just putting those in the center there. And that one is done. So that's our heart-shaped free stamp die set that you can get from Sale-A-Bration. And so there we've got the one that we did today on the magnet. And then that was this is Poppy Parade, and that's the Real Red and Garden Green and the Old Olive and Poppy Parade. So you can see definite difference in tone with the different colors. So I'd love to know what you think of those and which is your favorite, which color. I'm going to make more for customers, so I'm going to try other shades like yellows and pinks and lavenders and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, if you want to get this stamp set, you have until the end of February to place a qualifying order for whatever country you're in. Here in New Zealand, because it's a stamp and die set, it's $250 order. Contact me directly. And if you want to take any advantage of any of the other fabulous Sale-A-Bration offers, again, contact me or your demonstrator in whatever country you're at. And please click the links below to see what the other demonstrators are creating with Sale-A-Bration products this month for our Global Monthly Video Hub. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, wait, before I go, so I did show you the flowers that you can die cut. And so this was my first attempt at making those flowers. And I was going to put it on here, but that one, but the white kind of disappeared. So you can make lots of cute little stems like that. The other thing is when you die cut your wreath, your leaf wreath, say that fast, you end up with this piece left over, which I don't like wasting pieces. So for this one, I actually cut some of the leaves out of that extra scrap. But on here, when I first did it, I was playing around. So I die cut the flowers. They come in the 3s. As I showed you before, you can die cut 3 at a time, which is why I ended up with all of these, because I was just playing around die cutting. And then I just put them around, glued them around the back of that extra piece to make it into a heart. And the word thank you is in this stamp set. There it is there. Thank you. And so you can make another little cute little item. So this will probably go on a card, or you could turn that into a magnet. So I might pop that up on a card while I continue to craft with this set. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe to know when I've got other videos. I do the Global Monthly Video Hop every month in the first week of the month, but I also do other videos whenever something takes my fancy or I want to share something that I've learned or created with everybody. Thanks again. Bye-bye.